Hi everybody, and welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And this is me, Oberon, and I'm here to present my weekly show, Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, which is a tarot forecast for the elemental signs of the Zodiac, and kind of tells them what's going on in their emotional lives and what they can possibly do about that. So we always start off with the collective thought of the week. I use the Isis tarot for that. Not really a tarot, as I often say. More like maybe similar to other Lenormand or Gypsy fortune-telling cards. So I picked the card randomly, and hopefully it gives us a good message for the week. So I'm going to just do that one right there. Oh, well, that's nice. This card is vagueness. Vagueness. Let's just put that right there. Vagueness. What number is that? That's number 22. My goodness. What could that be trying to tell us, eh? So we have pulled card 22, Vagueness. We share our talents and our fortune with everyone. We build new visions in our life. We reach our aim. We will undertake numerous tasks and travels, and we'll make a choice in our lives that will be very decisive for our further career. Success in the undertaking of all kinds. That's kind of interesting. And of course, there's another note here saying that it is likened to the Fool in the tarot, even though I said it's not really a tarot. There are a few cards that they kind of liken to some of the archetypes of the tarot. So that's interesting. So be vague, because it actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to move right on now and do our readings. And our first up are air signs. Air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So I'm just going to leave that right there. And we have 4 cards. Our first card is from a different deck, the Eclipse Tarot, and it is the word of the week for the air signs, and that's meditation. So air signs, it's all about the mind, So get into a little bit of meditation in this week. Try to set time aside to either relax the mind, still the mind, or maybe some people use meditation just to kind of focus their thoughts and to kind of discover or illuminate a topic within their mind, to just give it a thorough thinking through. So that's for the air signs. Try to meditate today. And now we're going to go on and do the actual reading. And for this one, I use the Ancient Egypt Tarot by Clive Barrett. Just going to go ahead and shuffle these here. Ruffle them up a little bit. Hold for the noise. Alrighty. So, what emotional happiness will you find this week? And we have the Ace of Swords, and it's reversed. It may be that some plans, some undertakings are stalling a little bit. I'm not sure how that brings us happiness, other than maybe the idea that maybe some of these undertakings would be detrimental. So for example, if you're under the gun and somebody wanted to basically say, well, it's time for us to remove you from this property, you haven't paid your mortgage or whatever, so if these undertakings are serious things, but if they're delayed for some reasons, maybe that could be a reason why somebody would be happy. Maybe the emotional happiness is because we need more time to work on our plans too. So maybe delays are good at this time of year. Maybe it's a better time to focus on other things than everything that's right at hand, holiday planning, all that stuff. I don't know. It's kind of a hard call for me to make there, but it does sort of feel like there's something that does not get done or does not adhere to its schedule, and you're kind of okay with that. So our next position is, what emotional challenges or surprises will you face in this week? And we have the Five of Swords, and that card's reversed. And the Five of Swords reversed, well, it's one of those cards, some of the 5 cards maybe different readers might read differently, but some people always sort of feel like the fives just have energy things attached to them, you know, intermixing with people and situations, sometimes a little friendly, sometimes not a little friendly, and that either way, I know I've been winding up to tell you this, sometimes to me at least, the reverse cards are not exactly the opposite. They may be similar enough to where it's just a matter of perspective. Is this happening to you, or is this happening to the person that may be indicated here? So with a Five of Swords reversed, it seems to me like somebody's getting kind of the bad end, or possibly the bad end of a heated battle or fight, a test of wills, arguing. All in all, what I always feel is that no one wins with the Five of Swords reversed or upright. It's always sort of like a tainting feeling that goes along with that, that we had to succumb to that certain level of possibly violence or argumentiveness, that kind of thing. So this is your challenge, is to understand that maybe, you know, certain situations are not going to really get better, at least in this time frame, and that you may have to just kind of shuffle along, and that if this is about winning a fight, an argument, scoring points, this is possibly not the week to do it. If you do it, you will probably end up having regrets, because I sort of feel that is part and parcel of the Five of Swords reversed too, or sometimes even upright. So then finally, what will concern our relationships around us the most? What will concern romantic, platonic, co-worker, other friends or family? And it's the Princess of Cups, which is the Page of Cups in most other tarot decks. And I'm thinking that that tells us that people around us are a little bit lost. It's not a major thing, but I think that people are surprised because they're just not quite maybe feeling the spirit of the holidays. They're sort of a little bit out of touch with maybe their usually more poetic kind of self, or maybe they're grasping for the right things to say for certain people at this time. Just as a side note, I'm aware that a number of people around me, people that I know better or not so better, but are still acquaintances, there's a lot of people who have passed recently. Sometimes it's because of what's going on with the health pandemic, but not always. Mysteriously or otherwise, people seem to be leaving us now. And I'm wondering too if, you know, this is what this tells us, is that there's a sense of not being able to match words with action, especially when it's coming from the heart. We're sort of not really knowing what to say, not knowing how to feel about certain things. And it could be that this describes these other relationships as they impart to you, but it could also be a little bit the other way, that maybe they look at you and they sort of feel that just in general, there's a problem with connecting. There's a problem with people feeling good enough about saying what they really want to from their heart. Maybe there's a guardedness. Maybe there's just a feeling that it's time spent waiting rather than acting on certain emotions or feelings at this time. So it's kind of a heady week for the air signs. They don't have a lot of happiness that we equate with happiness. It's more about maybe being happy that things are delayed so that you can catch your breath. And I'm also wondering too about those other 2 cards, the idea that what surprises or challenges you is that there's just no winning right now in the situation, that wins maybe bring bad things in addition, unintended consequences. And the Page of Cups, the Princess of Cups, says this is not a good time for people to be pressed to find things in their heart that they can pull out, things in their philosophy that they can say. So this sort of has the look of an emotionally mixed week for the air signs. So that's what I have for air signs. And I'm going to move on now to our next sign, our next group of signs, that is, which are the fire signs. Okay, so fire signs, and you are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And my wife is an Aries, so I'm going to be really careful with this card. It's your word of the week, fire signs. It's proscription. I had to look this one up because I think it's come up before, and I probably mangled the idea here. I know it has a legal connotation, but when I looked it up, I was quite surprised to find out that the legal condemnation, the legal definition talks about decrees of vengeance or death, sort of like when a person has been found guilty and is condemned to die. That's what proscription is the sentence or the act of sentencing someone. Now, of course, fire signs, we don't want you to sentence anyone to die or feel like you need to condemn somebody to die, but maybe look within yourself. Maybe there's something really lethal in yourself, fire signs, that you need to banish, to condemn to death. So I want you to think about that seriously, that, like I said with the air signs, there's just some mixed stuff going on in the air. And fire signs, I'll be honest, every sign, every element has their penchant for doing something. Fire signs tend to be rushers. They just sort of spread like wildfire, So watch what you're doing there, because you may have to prescribe some things within yourself as being unacceptable and need to die. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Fire signs. I love you all. I have a number of fire signs around me besides Banshee. Proscribe carefully. So now I'm going to shuffle the cards for the rest of the reading. Our final 3 cards that will help us look at the emotional realms this week. Do it that last one. Do my cut. What emotional happiness will the fire signs find this week? You have the 4 of Wands. Oh, wow, that's really good. Considering that you might be trying to hold back prescribing murder or vengeance, the 4 of Wands seems to indicate that maybe there's a party in this next week. It's the holidays, so I think something that comes together with people and with celebration of life, celebration of a bonding, celebration of the season. These things are happening. Please be careful. Please make sure that you're following all the precautions. I know somebody, I've had 2 people in my workplace who have both had COVID in the last several weeks. One of them was no doubt from their Thanksgiving gathering, and before they got sick, they had told me they had a nice Thanksgiving and they had seen some relatives that they normally don't see. So please be careful, folks. If you are having a party, make sure you do everything right. Maybe keep it intimate this time. Maybe just invite those who you really know, you can work with in this situation. Now, what emotional challenges or surprises will you face at this time? And we're going back to the cups again, the Queen of Cups this time. And I think the surprise for you maybe is just you are so full of love. You are so full of benevolence that you find you are rising to the occasion. Maybe it's about this party. Like maybe this party is a party in your honor, or maybe you are a particular important guest there or important role to play. But I feel like the Queen of Cups says what's surprising and challenging is that you find a way to rise to the height of your emotional splendor, your emotional happiness. You are giving freely. You are loving freely. You are basking in the glow of how others respond to you emotionally. It's the holidays, and for many of us, this is what we've been waiting all year for, to see family again or to express love for family. So then finally, what will concern all of our relationships, the romantic, children, co-workers, platonics, other friends and family, the most? And we have another cup. We have the Eight of Cups. And I think what concerns him the most is maybe this is saying in this next week, it's the week before Christmas, or it will be ending the week before Christmas, we are finding that there are answers to all of our problems, our emotional problems, our other problems are really in front of us, and we are moving towards that, and we are finding that there are goals there are things there that are brightening up our life and showing a way and bringing the emotional realms of happiness to everybody. So you will find that these people around you have really all of a sudden, perhaps, or maybe you saw it in the making, have just suddenly woke up in a way, emotionally at least, and stepped up and said, this is what I'm doing. This is going to bring me a lot of happiness. This is where I know my heart lies, in that direction. Okay, so fire signs, you have a better week than the air signs. You have possibly a party or a happy occasion to go to. You are literally at the height of your powers of benevolence and feeling emotional strength and being able to give freely and receive freely. And everyone around you has suddenly seen the light and has a true plan for their lives, or at least now, and are moving forward towards something really emotionally wonderful for them. So that's what I have for the fire signs. So now we are going to move on to our friends, the water signs, of which I am one. And I know some of my friends out there are. I hope all water signs are doing okay. It's been a little rough for some water signs. We are the ones, if fire signs are more impulsive and speedy, we're the ones that maybe are a little bit more beholden to thinking things through in our hearts. That's what we do. We just sort of reason with our hearts. We have emotional intelligence. So water signs, what is your word of the week? Generosity. I'm feeling it, and I know that not everybody is doing as well as everybody else. So water signs, when you see somebody in your life that maybe needs a little pick-me-up, and I'm not just talking about buying them a gift or giving them a loan or something like that. It could also just be the generosity of your heart. And that I think that water signs in some ways are the best capable of doing these kind of things, of kind of putting it together there for heartfelt emotional gatherings, really, making people feel good, being graceful. This is what some of us can do really well. So do that, you water signs. Just go and do that. And now we're going to go ahead and get to the rest of our reading. And I'd like to remind everybody that my partner, my wife, the Banshee Shadow Wolf, has her own show, a weekly show like this one, which is on Sundays at 10 a.m. And her site addresses the more material matters of your life. So watch Banshee's Material Matters, Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And get those keys to success in prosperity, education, and finance. Alrighty, so now we are ready to do the rest of the reading for the water signs. What emotional happiness will water signs find this week? 10 of Discs, reversed. Water signs feel happiest when they can connect with their family. And I think sometimes that's a mixed blessing. And that I'm thinking that, even though times may be rough financially, which is kind of an indication here, or even in the area of how everyone in the family gets along with each other. Everybody always has the joke about Uncle Joe or Uncle Bob. You don't want him to come because he always talks about politics or something you don't like, that kind of thing. This is saying an acknowledgement of that, perhaps, that we are happy when we're with our family, even when we have to accept not everybody makes us feel totally happy, but we love them because they're our family. And so we put up with Uncle Joe or Aunt Susie or whoever it is because we still love them and maybe we can hope to spread the love and maybe elevate their own heart vibration. So then, what emotional challenges or surprises will we face this week, water signs? Ooh, this is definitely a challenge. It's justice reversed. And I'm thinking that justice reversed is telling us that perhaps what is surprising maybe is that certain decisions or judgments or things that weigh against us are going to surprise us, that maybe we felt certain things were kind of locked up. Maybe we had agreements to do things. Maybe we're buying property, cars. Maybe we're doing financial, legal engagements. And somehow this may have some little quirks there. Maybe there's something in the paperwork. Maybe there's something in the financial connection, like if you were getting co-signing from a member of your family, maybe some of that is going to be surprising to you, that it's just not exactly going to be that helpful, that a decision or something will work against you. At the easiest, I could sort of see where, like, maybe because it's the holiday times, maybe justice is denied because justice is just waiting until the new year to get moving ahead. So let's hope that maybe it's just something more like that, and that there's just some delays here, and that they are surprising and challenging, but we're at the end of the year and a new year's beginning. So we're going to move forward to that and leave some of this stuff behind. So finally, what will concern the romantic relationships, the platonic relationships, the co-workers, the friends and family, all those other folks that we care about to one degree or another? And it's the reversed King of Wands. And I'm thinking that some of the folks around us, maybe they're not as enamored of this time right now, this next week or so that's preluding and leading up to the holidays, because maybe there's a sense of a direction lost. Maybe there's a feeling that something you were really trusting to happen or putting your hopes on is not working out. This could be about things involving maybe, more fundamental areas of your life, like maybe finances, or maybe networking with people, maybe jobs. It sucks if you lose your job around the holidays. So I'm wondering if that could be it, that maybe some people may be concerned about whether or not things are going to change for them with their job, with their enterprise or associations with people. The holidays, like I said, it's a bad time to get canned where you work at, but it's also a bad time to get in a real bad row or fight with people you care about. Holidays can bring so many bad emotions as well as the good ones, because there's a sense of expectations, and that people who maybe put more on what they expected are bound to be disappointed and maybe feel like they've lost things. And so you want to try to tighten that up with the folks. Maybe that's where some of this comes in, because they could seem to be related in a way, that maybe there are just problems in the household with financials or with material things, and maybe it involves some things that are coming down, decisions that are maybe working against you. And maybe it's more likely that other people are challenged by this because they're the ones who maybe are more in the line of fire of this effect. So I'm thinking this is a not great week for the water signs either, like the air signs. So kind of got to hang in there and remember that it's still another week for Christmas itself and for the better times of the new year. So I just want you to kind of hang in there, look for the happiness where you need to, and remember that still your word of the week, generosity, is about a grace, and approach life with a grace with all these kind of decisions that maybe are wearing right now. Just see the grace within you. So that's what I have for the water signs. And now we're going to move on to our last, the earth signs. Earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. What is your word of the week? Your word of the week is impediment. Impediment is something that's in your way, something that's blocking you from progress, something that's blocking you from doing something, something that causes you to reverse course, go a different direction, things like that. So I want you guys to think about what are the impediments in your lives, what are things that you can possibly remove, maybe not. But being aware of them is half the battle, that maybe if you know there's an impediment, maybe you can just try to take a longer arc around it, get around it that way. Don't go to it, work around it. So now we're going to do the rest of the reading. Oops, I dropped a few cards. Reach over and grab that. Always something. Well, at least I'm in a closed room. It's a little dark in here. But no cats. No cats to run over the table. No cats to paw at me or knock the cameras over like they do on our live show. Oh, I know they're out there outside the door waiting for me to open it again. They're just going to have to wait a few more minutes. All right, Earth signs. Let's finish this puppy up for us for this week. What emotional happiness is there for Earth signs this week? Earth signs, you have a definite coming and going of a possibly romantic nature, or certainly something that's emotionally pleasurable. It's the Knight of Cups, here call it the Prince of Cups, and he's reversed. And so that usually talks about something coming or going that involves relationships or your feelings about relationships, your emotional heart, is it being fulfilled or is it lacking? And with that reversal there, I'm getting the feeling like maybe we are seeing some things leave our lives, and maybe some of that makes us feel bad. They might be things that were no longer giving us happiness, or maybe there are things that once they have moved away, we will feel that loss. So, of course, this could mean that maybe people who have been moving towards, possibly a breakup or real problems in their primary relationships, whether it's a love relationship or strong friends or family, this could be the week that some of this is really going to kind of kick out into the open. People maybe really have a mind to just move beyond the emotional pain right now. And that could be you and other Earth signs. What emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? Oh my goodness, you have another cup or king, and it's the reversed King of Cups. So you have another cup. You have the Prince of Cups, and now you have the King of Cups. And so what's emotionally surprising maybe, I think, for you is that you Earth signs are just not really feeling the flow of your emotions. There's something that's kind of blocking you in this next week. It may be that I'm getting a sense, you have so many people that you have to be on for, to be totally on, totally loving, and some of that is just a little bit rough sometimes, and maybe you're trying to figure out exactly what you're going to do with certain people, the problem people that you have a relationship with, but you're just not feeling like that relationship is really good right now. Remember, we're talking about the Prince of Cups. You're going to have to figure out how to soldier on and not maybe be too obvious in where your pain is or where your feeling of dissatisfaction with somebody emotionally is, because it's the Christmas time and you just sort of want to smooth over some of these things as best you can. It may very well be that you are going to be thinking about the serious move away from some of the worst things that affect you emotionally, whether it's really bad outworn relationships or situations, or if it's something that was, a wonderful pastime or hobby, but, something happened and it's no longer like that. Like maybe you had a weekly event that you went to, and all of a sudden so many people have just sort of changed their personalities or their ambience towards you that you no longer feel comfortable. Things like that, where just you sort of maybe feel you need to pull out of certain emotional fun situations. So then finally, what will concern your other relationships, be they friends, platonics, co-workers, primary relationships, whatever they are. And once again, we have our friend, the Queen of Cups, only this time they're reversed. And I'm thinking that somebody that is close to you, maybe more than one person, that you have emotional resonances with, they're struggling a little bit with their own emotionality. They may be having really hard time right now because it's the holidays, number one, and the holidays, this is probably in living memory for many people, the first time the holidays has so many strictures, limitations on it. And I'm thinking that's totally what this is about. Check in on all those people because the holidays are really important for people. And I think mostly it's because it's a symbolic time for us that we know we really want to be happy. And so we do everything we can to be happy. But for somebody like me, and I'm not an earth sign, I'm just a Scorpio, I know that the reverse of that is also true, that some people really dread the holidays because they do feel that they're expected to be more emotionally buoyant and they're just not feeling it, especially maybe this year. So go easy on those kind of people in your life. Try to give them the love you can. Try to understand where they're coming from. Remember, there is something going on emotionally. I mean, you got the three money cards for this reading. You got all cups. You got the king, queen, and prince or knight. And so they're all reversed. And this is telling me that there's just, for earth signs, a lot of emotionality going around. People coming and going, sob stories, breakups, sadness for all kinds of reasons. You need to give some TLC to all those people. That's your mission. Alrighty. So that's what I have for the earth signs and thus for our entire viewing audience. And I really appreciate you checking me out. I just kind of got carried away. I'm just battling on here. But I do wish everybody happy holidays, of course. And don't forget to check out Banshee's show on Sundays. And coming soon, we will have the winter solstice meditation I'm doing. Plus, I believe we're going to have predictions for 2021 coming up soon too. So watch us on Facebook and Twitter and get the scoop on all of that. And once again, thanks for checking in with us.